Bell Hall, and 6, Lily Sullivan with the Country Club of Charleston. I think I did, right? I think I got it. Yeah. So with the breaststroke, talking about legalities of the breaststroke, hands and arms first. Swimmers cannot pull their hands down by their waist. Hands have to stay above the chest. So you'll notice I'm doing small, for lack of a better term, somewhat circles. There is a little bit more strategy and science and coaching to that, but they are smaller circles that stay in front of the body. Right now in Heat 1 in Lane 4, Fiona Dietrich with Crowfield, I think will get this one, coming under the flags. Must do a two-hand touch at the turn and the finish. And Fiona does take Heat 1 with a time of 43:21. Heat 2, 13-14 girls breaststroke. Lane 1, Logan Kelly, Pine Forest. 2, Abigail McLeod, Hobcaw. 3, Caitlin Toll, Chamelon. 4, Brooke Bogarts, Pine Forest. 5, Savannah Godefroy, James Island. And 6, Lucy Miller with Dunes West. So we talked about the legal aspects with our upper body. With the legs, notice how swimmers are bringing their heels up and then you turn your feet out to kick. The most important part is the feet have to turn out and they have to work together. So no pointed toes. Sometimes swimmers will get disqualified for doing somewhat of a butterfly kick with one of their feet. Feet must turn out and push the water down and back. Looking at Heat 2 here, Lane 3, Caitlin Toll with Chamelon looking good. Right next to her, Abigail McLeod with Hobcaw. And it will be Chamelon in Lane 3, 40.37, about a second drop from her seed time with Heat 2. Heat 3 of the 13-14 girls breaststroke. Lane 1, Nora Brown, long point. 2, Ashlyn Smart, Somerville Y. 3, Grayson Pitts, long point, sister to Ellis Pitts, winner of freestyle and butterfly, freestyle and butterfly earlier. 4, Ella Soper, Daniel Island. 5, Patricia Hayes, Park Shore. And 6, Angela Pineda from Crowfield. So now we know what's legal and not legal in breaststroke swimming. A big aspect of this stroke is the underwater cycle. When swimmers dive in and then off the turn, they're allowed to start with an underwater cycle. Pushing off the wall, swimmers want to be in a streamlined position. That's arms overhead, hand over hand. They're allowed one butterfly kick and only one butterfly kick. Then pulling their arms down by their side. That is the only time they can pull their arms by their side. And then one breaststroke kick as their hands come up to the top. Heat 3 leading the way is Ella Soper in Lane 4 with Daniel Island. I know Ella is a talented basketball player, maybe doing some cross training for the summer. And it is Lane 4, Ella Soper, 39, dropping about a second from her seed time. Moving into Heat 4 of 6 of the 13-14 girls breaststroke. Lane 1, Lily Claypool, Park Shore. 2, Kate Kowalski, Daniel Island. 3, Bentley Boyd, Hobcaw. 4, Liv Causey, Shadimoss. 5, Maddie Requiden, Shadimoss. And 6, Matt Atwood with Northbridge. Looking at the swimmer in Lane 1, that Park Shore swimmer doing a really good job with her kick. Her feet are going wider than her knees. Some of our younger swimmers will tend to have really wide knees as they learn this, almost like a gymnastic split. That is not very efficient. You won't be disqualified, but you're not going to be able to push back a lot of water with that style of kick. Lily Claypool, Lane 1 out of Park Shore, and right behind her, Bentley Boyd with Hobcaw. Lane 1, Lily from Park Shore, 36.27, 3.5 second drop from her seed time. And then right behind her, Bentley Boyd. This is Heat 5 of 6. Lane 1, Emma Murchak, Legend Oaks. 2, Mary Catherine Huddleston, James Island. 3, Isabella Graham, Coosaw Creek. 4, Emma Christie, Legend Oaks. 5, Shelby Clinton with Coosaw Creek. And 6, Sadie Wood with Northbridge. Again, this is Heat 5 of 6. That James Island swimmer doing a wonderful job. Look at how much of her back you can see. Lane 2, her back you can see. She is on top of the water, not a lot of drag. Just like butterfly, swimmers in breaststroke must touch the wall on the turn and the finish with 2 hands. Breaststroke probably has the most differences in tempo, hand speed. Some swimmers will glide a little bit longer while they get more out of their kick. Lane 2, James Island, 35.26. That is Mary Catherine Huddleston with a 1 second drop. And here we are, our final heat of the 13-14 girls breaststroke. Lane 1, Lainey Crafton, Newington. 2, Cassidy Lima, Newington. 3, Avery Free, Sneed Farm, 4, Lindsay Burbage, Chamelon, 5, Peyton Cavote, Dunes West, and 6, Addie Cretion, Sneed Farm. So again, different styles of breaststroke swimming. Some of swimmers take a slower tempo. That means they glide longer, let their kick do the work. Other swimmers never stop moving those hands or feet, go for a faster tempo. Tight race coming into the wall. Avery Freese, just 13 years old. The winner of last year's 11-12 breaststroke, racing hard with Lindsay Burbage from Chamelon. Both girls doing a wonderful job lunging their bodies forward with their hands. Oh gosh, that is close. And it looks like it's going to be Lindsay Burbage with Chamelon, 31.60, a 2-second drop from her seed time. Lane 3, Avery Freese taking second, 31.65 with Sneed Farm. And lane 6, Addie Cretion with Sneed Farm, 33.98, about a 2-second drop from her seed time. We'll get a word here with Lindsay Burbage in just a moment. Before she comes over, boys 13-14 breaststroke. This is heat 1, lane 2, Daniel Garcia, 3, Cooper Cates, 4, Connor McNeese, and 5, Jackson Toll. And here comes Lindsay Burbage with Chamelon. Congratulations on your win, Lindsay.
Thank you.
I gotta say, you have a beautiful breaststroke. Your body's high in the water, you're lunging forward. Who taught you that breaststroke?
My coach from Blue when I was on Smart.
Wow, wonderful breaststroke. They've done a fantastic job, and I would imagine it's taken some hard work too to make it that fast. What kind of work are you doing with Coach Lynn at Chamelon this summer?
We've been practicing a lot on turns and focusing on my kick.
Well, you all have done a wonderful job. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to at home that may be watching?
My grandparents and Coach Michael.
Awesome. Congratulations. Coach Michael, again, one of your swimmers doing great this weekend. Thanks, Lindsay, for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
Heat 2 taking the blocks for the boys, 13-14 breaststroke. Lane 1, Jack Hornsby, Shadamoss. 2, Cole McLaughlin, Northbridge. 3, Wyatt Mazzell, Legend Oaks. 4, Connell Torrick, Coosaw Creek. 5, Jake Coster, Park Shore. And 6, Roy Condon, Fort Johnson. We've got a false start here. That's the continuous beeps that you hear. Swimmers watching at home, officials will drop a yellow rope you see about halfway down the pool. That's to stop any swimmer that may not have heard that continuous beep that signals a false start. And they did stop Park Shore in lane 5 with that yellow rope. Mentioned this before, but in the CCAA and in Summer League swimming, swimmers are allowed a false start kind of as a warning. Once you get to higher level competition, regional, national, and international, one false start and you're out of the race. Lane 2 with Northbridge got a really nice breaststroke, whipping those feet around the knees to complete the kick. So breaststroke is a pushing stroke. The kick really pushes you through the water. You just want to get your upper body out of the way. By out of the way, we mean lunging forward and staying high on the water. You don't want to dive those hands down. You don't want a lot of movement with your head. Northbridge in lane 2, that's Cole McLaughlin. Looks like Park Shore in lane 5 coming on strong. And it will be Cole, lane 2, with a 37.68. Right behind him, Park Shore, Jake Coster taking second.
Second from Sneed Farm is Avery Freese, and the champion with a time of 31.60 from the Chamelon Stingrays is Lindsay Burbage.
Moving on to heat 3 of 6 in the boys 13-14 breaststroke. In lane 1, we'll have Jack Straight. Lane 2, Liam Dietrich. Lane 3, Mason Camp. Lane 4, J.J. Marcer. Lane 5, Dawson Williams. And lane 6, Kim Katner. So folks at home watching, really watch how swimmers are really throwing their hands forward, trying to limit head movement to breathe. So you do take a breath each stroke and breaststroke, but you don't want to lead with the chin. You don't want to lift your chin. You want to think more about lifting with your back. And if your hips are high and close to the water as they should be, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem to get that breath.
Let's go, Jackson!
Right now, I think it's lane 2, Crowfield, Liam Dietrich. But coming down in lane 4, J.J. Marcer may take this one. Ashboro, lane 4, 36.30 will take heat 3.
Let's go, William!
Heat 4 of 6 stepping up. Lane 1, Cameron O'Donnell, James Island. 2, Mitchell Jackson, Pine Forest. 3, Jack Luby, Long Point. 4, Asher Western, Daniel Island. 5, Matthew Picard, Long Point. And 6, William Poole, Northbridge.
Owen, go off, baby. Let's go.
Swimmer in lane 5, Matthew Bacard with long point. It's rare to see a swimmer be really good at butterfly and really good at breaststroke. Matthew's done a wonderful job of that. And part of the reason is his body position. So butterfly and breaststroke are short axis strokes. For, to keep things simple, it's chest down, hips up, chest down, hips up. You're doing the same motion in breaststroke as you are butterfly. Tight race here in this heat 4. And it will be lane 4. Lane 4, Asher Western with Daniel Island, 33.59, about a half-second drop from his seed time. Going into heat 5 of 6 for the breaststroke. Lane 1, Owen Davies, Sneed Farm. 2, James McKenna, James Island. 3, Andrew Nichols, Hobcall. 4, Drew Thomas, Country Club. 5, Zane Brinkley, Shadamoss. And 6, Danny Slater, Coosaw Creek. Lane 4, Country Club at Charleston, doing a great job, again, getting those hands out front so the kick can do the work. The work in breaststroke is done with the kick. Pushing that water down and back, you want to have narrow knees. That's lane 4, Drew Thomas taking a commanding lead. Right behind him, lane 2, James McKenna. It will be lane 4, 31.35. That's Drew Thomas. About a second and a half drop from his seed time. Going into our 6th and final heat of the 13-14 boys breaststroke. Lane 1, Gabe Grimm. 2, Matthew Phillips. 3, Rhett Andrews. 4, Cohen Phillips. 5, Jackson Allison. And 6, Evan Hawsey. At this age, the difference between, how much a young guy can pull underwater on that underwater cycle really becomes apparent. Let's see how they do coming off the turn, getting that underwater cycle. Rhett Andrews doing a wonderful job with the Country Club. Strong breaststroker, did a great job on that mixed medley earlier. Shooting those hands forward. As the hands go forward, chest is down, hips come up. He is going to win this in style. That is going to be Rhett Andrews, 29.61. About a 2-second drop from his seed time. Rhett Andrews, Country Club of Charleston, winning the 13-14 boys breaststroke. We'll get a word with him in a moment. First, girls 15-18 breaststroke. This is heat 1 of 7. Lane 1, Josie Pearson. Lane 2, Josie Pearson Country Club. Lane 3, Olivia Quartermus, Long Point. And lane 4, Maggie Colley, Chamelon. Rhett Andrews here, the winner of the 13-14 boys breaststroke. Rhett, that was a commanding lead you had. I think you took the turn and really just dominated. What were you thinking about on the way back?
I was just trying to keep my distance because these kids are younger than I am and they're really fast too. And they're just, I don't know, they're really fast.
So I've had a chance to know Rhett, and since he was, about Yay Hall, and yesterday watching the younger kids swim breaststroke, looks a little bit different than Rhett's. He's really mastered the technique and the body position. How have you worked on that leading up to this meet, Rhett?
Coach Michael from Smart has really helped me. And yeah, he's just helped me with my technique and my pull out. So, yeah.
And then one last thing, Rhett, I got to say, I'm old, but we used to wear these goggles, if you can zoom in. These are called Swedish goggles. There are no cushioning in these goggles. This is what everybody wore in the 90s. I love to see Rhett hanging on to that old Swedish goggle look.
I just wear them because they're like $3.
Yeah, they are. They're cheap. All right, any shout-outs? Anyone you want to talk to at home that's maybe watching you?
I want to shout out to Miss Diane at home who's watching, and my grandparents and my aunt, and just everyone who's watching, and my friend James Winterfield who's getting an x-ray right after this, so he can't do his best, and yeah.
Well, congratulations, Rhett Andrews.